In this video, we are going to work on calculating powers and roots of numbers. We can write the number multiplied by itself with power notation. Something like 2 times 2. We could write this as 2 squared, or 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. This is 5 to the power of 4. Now, when we see this power notation, we almost always, go with the understanding that this is 5 times 4. That is not correct. This means 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, whereas you can see that we are multiplying the numbers. So please be careful. Do not consider 5 to the power of 4 as 5 times 4. That's wrong. It is 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. 4 tells us that 5 is multiplied by itself 4 times. That is very important. Now, when we say 5 to the power of 4, we should also know that 5 and 4 has special names, as in when I write 5 to the power of 4, 5 is called as the base and 4 is called as the power or index. Right. When it comes to roots, we basically do the opposite of finding a power of number. Like when I show this as a root symbol, like square root of, let's say, 64 or cube root of 64, right? So what happens is that square root of 64 means that we are looking for a number which is, when it's multiplied by itself, gives us 64. So the answer will be 8, because 8 squared, or 8 times 8, is 64. So we are reversing this multiplication actually. When it comes to cube root of 64, that's going to be a 4, because 4 cubed, which is 4 times 4 times 4, gives us, well, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. That's why when we reverse this, we find the cube root of 64 as 4. Let's look at an example. Use your calculator to work out the values of the following. Now, for calculating powers, you can use this button, x to the power of anything. You can write that in that square, or if it's just square of a number, you can use this. And for the square root, you can use this. And for bigger roots like cube root here, you can use shift and this button for cube root. Now let's do the calculations. So 9.4 squared means 9.4 times 9.4. It is not 9.4 times 2. Please be careful. This is a very common mistake that students do. So the answer will be 88.36. Now, the second one is 2.5 cubed. I can just key this into my calculator to find out 15.625. Square root of 109 will be a decimal number, so if it is not indicated, I have to round this up to 3 significant figures. So that's going to be 10.4, and cube root of 44.8 will be 3.5516. Again, I'm going to write in 3 significant figures, 3.55, indicating that it's 3 significant figures in both cases, right? Yeah. So this is what I need to do. One last thing about this example is that we can write down the roots. I mean, in parts C and D, we can express them as powers. I mean, the question square root of 109 could be expressed as 109 to the power of 1 over 2, because the power of 109 is 1 and this is the square root, so I can write a fractional index number to express this root. Or if it is cube root of 44.8, I can write this as 44.8. Just because the power is 1, I can write it as 1 over 3, indicating the root in the denominator. So that's another way of expressing roots. Let's see another example. The question says, without using a calculator, but just because our IGCSE exams are with calculator, we can use a calculator. So basically, the first question would be 343 when you key this expression in your calculator, and the second one will be 256. Now for the third one, you can just key in using x to the power of square button, right? You can key in 81 to the power of, here you have to press your button for the fraction, right? So that when you press this button after this one, you're going to get something like, let me write here, you're going to get something like 81, and in the power part you'll get the fraction, and you can write it like 1 over 4, and then you can calculate it. Hitting the equal button will give you the answer to be 3. And for this one, the same idea applies. You can just use these two buttons. Pressing this one will give you the power, right, in which you can write down 125, and then at here you can press the fraction button to get a fraction and write down 1/3 to find the answer to be 5. Now try these questions. You can use your calculator to find the value, so there isn't much to do as work. But be careful that you have to round these numbers up to the given number of significant figures, and when you need to round a number, and if the number of significant figures is not indicated as in this one, please always round up to 3 significant figures. Right, so please solve these questions and submit your answers online. Thank you.